All right, all right. Welcome everyone to the Bunderdome. This is your host, Timothy Lim, and I'm joined by my co-creator, Mark Pellegrini.
Oh!
I started simply because I saw this while we were chatting in the back. Vicky versus is Dean running tonight's stream. Vicky, you'll be happy to know that there are times when I'm a lot later than Dean is. So Dean has one up on me, that's for sure. And we have Fresher Luke here. He says, "You late?" Yes.
We were talking about Godzilla versus Kong. We couldn't help it.
Yeah, we're running late by about 6 minutes. And we're not going to stream that long on this one. I feel like we're having deja vu because we actually did something similar to this just a few weeks ago, actually. But I've been kind of away for a while. Most people, I mean, a lot of our friends, I know Vicky knows because I told her, I told Dean, Mark knows. I've been having some health issues recently, so I've been having to take a step back from a lot of work. It hasn't been fun. I was actually doing a lot better about 2 weeks ago, and I basically blew it by overworking myself again. And so I'm having to take another break, and I hate it. I hate not being able to.
You know what you are? You're that goat from that video this week that the guy pulls out of that like crack in the ground and then immediately like runs and jumps back into the crack.
Oh, that's me. Yes, that's me to the T. And I think I'm driving my wife crazy too, because I'm like, what do you think this symptom is? What's this symptom? Like, what's going on? How do I fix this? Honestly, like, Mark, you'll appreciate this, but just today, I was talking to my primary care and I was like, do you think I'm consuming too much fiber? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, I bought this 65% of your daily recommended fiber content cereal, and I ate that with like salad and stuff. And he was like, good Lord, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. And I was like, I want to keep my colon healthy. And he's like, yeah, but you know, most people don't even consume like 15% of their daily fiber per day. And you just consume basically like 110%. Like, dial it back, man.
Welcome to my world. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I shit so much.
Well, and he said, you could do that and you'll work your way to it to the point where your gut will get used to it. But if your gut is used to 20% fiber and you're consuming like 110%, like there's gonna be some repercussions. And boy, oh boy, yeah, today was not fun. I'll put it that way. I was bloated, and I just thought like, oh my gosh, like just to make things worse, like with all the other pain that's going on, like now I have this, and so it's like, oh, okay, well, I had a balloon in my stomach, only temporarily. I had lunch with Matt and Bill today. It was a lot of fun.
Your body's like, can you just stop fucking up for 5 minutes?
I can't, man. I don't know. I got to keep on working. And I kept on thinking about Draw and Talk. Who's in the chat? So, Tyler, I was thinking about you because, so I have basically 4 physicians looking at me. And I don't want to get too graphic, but there's a component where I just thought, is this like bowel related? And I know that Tyler speaks openly about his bowel problems. And so I was like, I wonder if Tyler's biting his tongue or if his ears are burning, being like, hey, is someone talking about me? Because I was, for sure. Anyway, but we're not here to talk about poop or fiber or anything like that. We're here to talk about the ending campaign of Kamen America 3. So let me bring that up real quick. I'm terrible at keeping up with these numbers. Honestly, since we
I've actually got them up right now. So
I'm going to see it in live time.
Yeah, so right now,
great. Okay.
Yeah, 33,270.
270, yeah.
Yeah.
5 hours left. All the perks are still available except the really, really high ones. So the statue perk is gone, and then the basic volume 3 and then the standee is gone. But the original art, the mask perk, and then the basic volumes are still available, as well as, of course, the digital copy. If you're listening and international shipping is something you're interested in, we offer it to Australia, Canada, the UK, and Japan. Please, 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 if you're an American backer and you want all 3 volumes, please read the campaign carefully. Do not back the international package. So for our last campaign on Kickstarter, we're going through it. We were going through it. We sent pretty much all of them out as of this morning, but we had at least people, Americans, back the international campaign. So they paid the premium price to get volumes 1, 2, and 3. And if they looked at the campaign, it tells you how to add on 1 and 2 without backing international. I mean, I really,
it's a new system, and
no, correct me if I'm wrong. This international means outside the United States, right?
I know
mean,
that
I'm not
people
crazy.
They weren't reading carefully enough, and we don't want you to overpay people out there. So if you want all 3 copies, you don't have to buy the international tier unless you're from one of those international countries that we're shipping to. There's a new system that both Kickstarter and IndieGoGo are doing, and it's called the add-on system. Basically, you select your tier, which would be like Common America plus Standee tier, or the Common America and Mask tier. And then when you hit select this perk, on the very next screen, if you just look down at the bottom of the screen, there's an a la carte list of add-ons. And that's where you can get the extra stuff, like the hardcover reprints of 1 and 2, the Velvet Thunder CD soundtrack, the lenticular Carly poster. That's where all that extra stuff is. But it's on the next screen, and you have to scroll down a little bit. A lot of people were going to the next screen and then just hitting continue without like scrolling down and finding the add-ons, and they were missing it. So I think that's going to work itself out as more people get used to the add-on system. It's just that it's brand new and people don't know it's there yet. But if you've selected the international tier and you're in the United States, please go back to your order to just selecting volume 3 and then adding the hardcover reprints in the add-ons, or else you're going to overpay for shipping. You don't want to do that.
So Fresher Luke says you can just limit the campaign to international backers only. That's true on IndieGoGo. So if you do try to back international on IndieGoGo, you're going to end up with a hurdle, because it will basically say, hey, you don't have a Canadian, an Australian, or a Japanese mailing address. And then what typically happens is people email me and they say, hey, I don't know what's going on. I can't back volumes 1 and 2. Now on Kickstarter though, you could, and that was the problem, is that you could back it, on the international, because it doesn't ask for your information until the end. And even then, they were giving me like a United States address. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We tried this time around to make it a little bit more clear on the campaign page, but we're going to offer it, I think, again on Black Ops X Common America, but I don't know. I'm going to have to find a way to word it in a way so that people know, hey, don't pay for the international package. Just buy the normal tier and just put the add-ons on.
Oh, now I'm going to ask you, Tim, some questions about our next campaign that people have been asking me, and I don't know the answers to yet, so I'm going to ask you.
Oh, speaking of which, why don't we do this? Guess what I have right now? I have the link to the preview page.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Hold on. Let me paste it in the chat. Oh my gosh, I almost pasted the StreamYard link. We don't want that. That would not be good. We'll have some people in our back room. Okay, let me pull up. Yeah, how exciting. Let me pull this up real quick. Here we go. Motion. All right, so if you're listening, you guys are going to be the first people to see this, but this is the link to Common America and the Black Ops crossover on Kickstarter. So this is the landing page. If you guys want to sign up, get notified so that once we go live, you can get all the goodies before they sell out. But that's it right there. The link in the description. Okay, ask away, Mark.
I'm waiting for that link to show up on the live chat end just to make sure it went through. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to see it myself. Oh, yeah. Okay,
it's not much. I mean, it's a landing page.
Yeah, but it's where anybody can bookmark it in case they want to get a head start. Yeah. So, questions I've been getting. Will a reprint of the Black Ops Omnibus be available as part of the campaign? Will it be hardcover? It'll be hardcover. Okay.
And it will have 8 extra pages.
Ooh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Will the hardcover reprints of Common America 1 through 3 be available on this one?
No, but we will have the links to iconic comics, and they will sell our leftovers. Just to run the numbers by, I think it's about 500 copies of KA3, assuming that we end tonight around the 500, 600 mark, and then about 150 copies of KA1 and 150 copies of KA2. So not much. And the reason for that is because we will be having the omnibus with KA4 in the fall. So we don't want to print a collected edition yet when we're planning a major collected edition in just a few months. So that's why if you want Kamen America, you only had two choices. You had to back it on this campaign, or you can buy them on Iconic Comics once
While we
put
still
those
have the
up.
overstock. Okay.
Correct. And of course, on Iconic Comics, they actually have a surcharge, so they're more expensive. It's cheaper to get it through the campaign than it is to wait until they list them.
Okay. So for the Black Ops X Kamen America, what will be available in digital?
The book itself and the Black Ops Omnibus.
Okay, so none of the Kamen America books will be available in digital on that one.
No.
Okay. Because just a reminder, people, Black Ops X Kamen America is technically Black Ops 4. So this is a Black Ops campaign, not a Kamen America campaign, even though Kamen America is crossing over. So,
correct.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
there's been some confusion about that. We've gotten some very helpful advice. Some people were like, hey, you should actually put the name Kamen America first. Call it Kamen America X Black Ops. And it's like, well, technically we can't because it's the fourth volume of Black Ops. I mean, even the story is primarily a continuation of Volume 3. And we just have Kamen America and some of her supporting cast showing up to augment the team. So there's a whole rationale for that. Plus, the other thing is that the way we write these books is that if you just read one title, you should be able to follow it through without necessarily having to reference another title. So most people don't know this, but in Kamen America 1 at the end, Misha and Carly are kind of enemies. But by 2, it starts off and she's already in America and she's already fighting as Kamen Comet. But in Black Ops 3, that's actually the connecting volume where you find out how Misha made it to the United States. She was extradited because she defected. Now, if you're just reading Black Ops, you don't have to have read Kamen America because she is the sister of one of the antagonists in the book. And so we write it into the story as it is part of that universe. And one thing that we want to do with Kamen America is if you're not interested in Black Ops, you should be able to read Kamen America 3 and 4 and have it join nicely without necessarily seeing what's happening in the middle. But if you happen to pick up the crossover, you're going to get a lot more insight as to what transpired between the two volumes.
Yeah, we don't want it to be like those early 90s Spider-Man crossovers, like during the Clone Saga, when you had to read like Amazing and you had to read Spectacular and you had to read Peter Parker, because like each one of those Spider-Man books had a single chapter and a story arc, and you couldn't just like read 2 consecutive issues of Amazing and be able to follow the story because everything was broken up. We don't want to do it like that. So people who just want to read Kamen America can just read Kamen America, and the story will flow coherently and organically. But you'll get a little bit more out of it if you also read Black Ops, and vice versa. If you just want to read Black Ops and not Kamen America, then all the Black Ops volumes will interconnect. But you'll get a little more out of it if you check out Kamen America's books can be read independently of each other.
Yeah. Now, as time goes on, it might get a little bit more complicated because after we establish the crossover, some of the characters are going to appear in each other's books, and we'll address it within the titles themselves. But I think that over time, there's just going to be a natural inclination to want to check out the other stuff. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the current IDW Ninja Turtles line where you have the Mutanimals showing up. And while you can read Turtles by itself, it just augments the reading experience if you have a little bit more backstory when you know what's going on in the other book. So we're trying to do that where we can navigate both titles, but like I said, because of some of the overlap between them, especially the way that their abilities work, we're going to have some crossover between. I mean, by now, I think most people know that kind of the overarching, I guess, MacGuffin is this concept of chimeratons. It's basically the explanation of why certain abilities exist in this fictional universe. And obviously there's going to be some connection there that happens between both books. But it'll be fun. I wrapped up this book, the art on it and the lettering about, what would you say, Mark, like 3.5 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago, something like that. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. We don't want to spoil too much about it. So even on our campaign page, it's pretty sparse in terms of showing what's going on, because it's basically nonstop as far as really neat twists and turns. So we don't want to give everything away. But
it's also going to be so just in terms of the books crossing over, moving forward, it's also going to be a lot easier to catch up because now we're going to have these omnibus editions coming out. So the first Black Ops omnibus that collects volumes 1 through 3, we've already published that, and we've got some more on the way. And then after Kamen America 4 comes out, or alongside Kamen America 4, we're going to have the Kamen America omnibus that collects the first saga, the first story arc, and that's going to have volumes 1 through 4 in it. So catching up on the previous issues is going to be a lot easier now that we have these omnibus collections coming out.
I want to show something in the chat. So check this out. So I'm going to post this in the comments. Someone on eBay is selling their hardcovers for $125 for 1, 2, and 3. And we're not opposed to the free market doing what it needs to do. In fact, I'm very flattered when I see that the price of our books are very high. But you can do any search. I'll post another search on eBay. If you just go to eBay and just type in Kamen America, you can actually see what our books are going for at the moment. The first printings of the reprint of volume 1, my gosh, is going for $85 right now.
Yeah, so we don't take it personally, by the way, everybody out there. If you sell your copy of Kamen America because you don't want it anymore, because you can flip it for a higher price, we're not going to be offended. We're not going to be hurt.
I'm flattered, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that ours actually have a value, I mean, just the fact that people are willing to pay money for it is flattering enough. But the fact that people are willing to flip it for a profit is even more flattering. But we think of comics first and foremost as a narrative, as a storytelling medium. But we do understand that part of the comics market is collectability, and there are people out there who see them as collector's items. So we completely understand that aspect of the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, these are beautiful books. They're all hardcover. There's a little element that we put into the logo that's a little bit hard to see. It's a blink and you miss it type thing, which is the holographic foil. So we actually left that part in there. But these are sturdy books, 80-pound paper. What is the current size of it? It is 64 pages per book. So it's actually fairly meaty, fairly substantive. And I think per page, it's actually a better deal than you get with Marvel or DC titles, just in terms of content and presentation plus the price. So again, like seeing it on eBay with that high price, it's flattering. I'm very happy that at least when people resell it, that hopefully they're making good profit out of it. We're certainly happy with the margins that we've made as far as our work and what we feel like we need to be compensated for. So it's great. I'm very happy about that. But if any of you are speculators or if you just want to get in on it before the price goes up, make sure to back our campaign now before midnight. So let me post that link real quick in the chat.
So going back to the questions, we had one in the chat just now. That's a good question from Prod Mule, I think is his name. Let me scroll back up. Or Porado Mule.
Will the omnibus include any extra content from earlier books? I think one of my fan arts was included in volume 2, and I kind of wasn't able to get it. Are you referring to Black Ops or are you referring to Kamen America? Because I don't know if Kamen America volume 2 had any fan art in it.
I can look at my copy right now. I have it sitting on my table. But so the Kamen America Saga 1 Omnibus, will it have all the backups in it? Will it have any of the bonus pinups and art in it?
Oh, it's Lumdrop. I know Lumdrop. Yes, Lumdrop. So the Omnibus, here's the way it works. For the hardcovers, it's a little bit more difficult than with the soft covers. The pages typically have to be divisible by 8 or 16. So what happens, for example, in the case of the Black Ops Omnibus, it was divisible by 8, but the printer told us, they said, look, you might as well just make it an extra 8 pages, make it 16, because it's going to be cheaper for you to do it. It's all based on the way they bind it. And so I had to scour and find 8 extra pages, and luckily I had them. So the good thing is that for the Kamen America Omnibus, it will contain all the content from volumes 1, 2, and 3. That includes the covers, the gallery, the fan art, the concept design, the backups, everything, because it has to be a meaty book. That's the only way that the omnibus will function, is it has to be a lot of content, and also to justify the price, a lot more expensive. But you're getting like a ton of material. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kamen America, the series up until volume 4, is going to be way over 220 something pages. Like it's going to be a really big volume. So,
Okay, so it's
you're
going to be
paying a pretty penny.
comprehensive then.
Well, you're gonna be paying a pretty penny, but it'll be worth it for everything that you get in it, so to speak. So Lumdrop, I remember your art is gonna be in it for sure. We're not going to get rid of any of that.
Yeah, I'm looking at my Black Ops omnibus right now, and it has everything in it. It's got all the backups, it's got all the extras. So, and the Common America omnibus will be the same. It'll have all the stuff in it. So you won't be missing anything. Yeah.
No. Fresher Luke says you could hold some extra copies and sell them on eBay for those bigger numbers. So the way our deal works with Iconic Comics is I make sure to print a certain number for them to sell on their own online store. And they do have a markup. So instead of pricing it at like $10 or $5 shipping, I think they price it at $15 or $5 shipping. So obviously you get a better deal if you go through crowdfunding, but you are going to have people who are late to the campaign and then they're going to have to just get it through their store. On the other hand, the copies that Mark and I have, we don't sell those online. We actually take them to conventions. So that way we can interact with people and there's going to be an incentive for people to come and buy them. And typically, I think we charge the same price as Iconics, $15, but we don't have a surcharge for shipping and handling. So you basically pay the same price you would at a campaign, but it's to reward people who come and visit us because I think that if you go to a convention, it's for a kind of unique experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. And I did one recently in Biloxi, Mississippi, and turnout was really good. I sold quite a few copies of Common America 1 and 2 while we were there. So that was a lot of fun. My next convention, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm going to be with Iconic this weekend in Houston. I need to follow up with them, but they're going to be at Traders Village in Houston this weekend, and I need to confirm with them that I'm going to go to that
Only
one.
Go if you're feeling healthy enough to do it. Don't put yourself back in like
Here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing, though. I was telling you before the stream, the last one I did was in Biloxi and Mobile, which was 2.5 weeks ago, and I felt like hell the day before I went. And during the drive, which was 9 hours, I was like, I'm going to have to wake up early in the morning and go to the ER because I am not feeling good at all. I swear there's something that's flaring up and it's not healthy. And the next day I felt fine. That whole weekend I was like on cloud 9 because I felt great. So I'm praying that if I have to go this weekend that the same thing will happen.
All right, well, just conserve your strength. Yeah. Okay, next question that I remember getting. Do we have any more direct market from like Antarctic Press reprints coming up?
I don't think so at all. Not because of any animosity. It just slipped my mind. I've been so busy this year that in order for me to coordinate with Antarctic Press, I have to send them the working files. I have to send them. It's going to be a little bit different because I have to cut pages out. I have to change the interior credits page, and then I have to come up with a different either front or back cover. So recently this year, with everything just kind of piling up, we had Common America 2, then 3 right on its heels. I just haven't had time to coordinate with them in terms of, hey, you guys want this or do you not? So I apologize for people who do want it through the retail market, but I really should get on that. But Mark knows that we got not only KA4, but we have our secret project, which we're probably going to announce here in a few weeks. And then plus with my doctor's visits, I just haven't had any time.
Yeah, I mean, you've also been overseeing all the logistics and fulfillment and the printing of all this stuff too. So, I mean, you've been doing this practically as full time. So,
yeah, it's fun, but man, I think it's taken a toll on my health for sure.
Yeah. So I think this is the last one that I recall people asking. What extra items from the Common America 3 campaign are going to be discontinued after this campaign ends tonight? So we've got the acrylic standee, we've got the mask, we've got the Velvet Thunder CD, the lenticular poster, and then of course the really limited edition statue. So what's going to go away forever after this campaign ends?
Everything. So,
all that stuff is just this campaign. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, anytime we do one of these things, we typically make it limited edition. So the acrylics, once they sell out, they're gone. I don't reprint them. But people know by now that there's a new one that comes out every campaign. Same thing with the masks. So I'll tell you guys one of the perks right now for the Black Ops X Common America campaign is we have another version of the mask. We had at least 4 people send us prototypes. And obviously we went with one that we thought was the best because they're a leather manufacturer in Texas. But we had another leather manufacturer in Detroit another American-made company, and they sent us prototypes, and they were really good. Now, the problem is that they were a little bit more expensive, so we did not order them in the same bulk quantity. We ordered a little bit less. They're a slimmer profile, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit sleeker in its design, but that's one of the things that we're going to offer. But once that's gone, it's gone. Once Kamen America 4 comes out, we might do another mask, but it's not going to be the same. We've had a lot of requests for people asking for the other members like Misha and Kimiko. So that's something that I'm looking at right now, but obviously it's going to be very different. So everything that we do, once it sells out, we don't reprint. Same thing with the lenticular posters. Once we sell out of those, and same thing with the CD. Okay. I have Sheila working on something else for us, but it's going to be for Kamen America Volume 5 in the spring. It's not going to be for the fourth book this fall. Cool. And then a guy from Red Bank says, so there will be no Volume 2 for Black Ops? Volume 2 for Black Ops had already come out 2 years ago. It was called Hair Trigger. So Volume 1 is, it actually collects 2 issues from Antarctic Press. And it's collectively called Buns of the Patriots. I think you can buy it on Iconic Comics, if I'm not mistaken. Volume 2 was crowdfunded 2 years ago. It's called Hair Trigger. Volume 3 came out last year, and it's called Apocalypse Now. And now it's Volume 4. So, yeah, there was definitely a Volume 2 for Black Ops.
So we're collecting Black Ops in an omnibus every 3 volumes because the Black Ops volumes are longer than the Kamen America volumes. So we can collect Black Ops every 3 volumes, whereas Kamen America is going to get collected into an omnibus every 4 volumes. So it's still going to be a couple years before we have a Black Ops Omnibus 2, because we have to, get up through Black Ops Volume 6 before we can do a second omnibus collection. If that's what he meant.
Yeah, maybe. I think, yeah. I can't find... Oh, he says I can't find Hair Trigger. Hold on. It might be because they're sold out, Iconic Comics. I know that they sold out the omnibus not too long ago.
They might have some of the retail edition on Antarctic Press's website. Let me check.
Yeah. There is a retail version, and the retail version, I think, is fairly identical, except it's missing the Penelope backup. I think that's the key difference with them. Let me see right here. So yeah, the omnibus is sold out. Volume 3 is available, but I think Antarctic Press is selling them. So let me bring up.
I got the link right here to Antarctic Presses. I'll put that in the. See if I can put that in the chat.
I think it comes in 2 versions. There's the Onyx version, and then the regular version.
I'm going to post the link in the private chat, Tim, just so you have it, because I can't put that in the chat myself.
Yeah. Yeah, the Black Onyx version is rarer, and that's $15. The normal version is $6.99, and it's identical to the crowdfunded version with a couple of exceptions. One, the cover is different, the back cover at least, and it's missing the supplemental epilogue. So in the original, you had 2 stories. You had the USAGI and the Patriotter stories, but then you had a 3rd story with Penelope drawn by Matt Weldon, and that last one is not in the retail edition.
So if you are completely new to Black Ops, you're really just better off waiting until the Black Ops X Kamen America campaign, when we have reprints of the Omnibus edition that has volumes 1 through 3, and you can get the whole saga up to that point in one go. I think that's just a better read that way.
Yeah, if you just wait for the Omnibus reprint, it'll have everything in it for sure. Oh my gosh. So Vicky Verse says, it looks like Well-Read's review stream this Thursday will be Soul Finder 1 and 2. Woo! Get ready for that, Doug. Well, I listened to most of that review they did of Kamen America, and they're very honest. I like that. I do like honest opinions as far as reviews are concerned. I know that Smug Pug, I think he goes by Smig Pig now. I know he liked it, but they have one person, I think he goes by Moonshine, and he's very critical of everything that he reads on there. And he basically said he loved the book. It's just that it's because it's basically a super heroine. He found it hard to identify with, so it wasn't his cup of tea. But I appreciate that honesty in a review, because obviously not every work is going to be for everyone, but that's something that we like to hear too. Because at least if we're targeting the audience that we're meaning to cater to, and they're satisfied with it, then obviously we're happy with the response.
I mean, they gave it a shot, which I think means a lot. Is that they picked up the book, they read it, they thought about it critically, and whether it was for them or not, they at least gave us a chance. And we always appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, what else do we have to talk about? I know we said we'd go for 30 minutes, but I feel like we're missing out on something. Oh, Black Ops X Common America right now. So I got approved on Kickstarter to launch it. We are going to be launching on May 5th, which is 2 weeks from now. And why are you laughing?
That's just like, we're right around the corner. We're hardly giving people time to recover.
I know, or me, for example.
Yeah, right.
The campaign for Common America 3 closes tonight on IndieGoGo. They're typically really fast at sending payment to me now. I think it's because we have a track record for fulfillment. So they're not like, holding on to the reserves so tediously. And so we should be getting that payment either by Friday or I think by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I will send the link out for the PDFs and we'll go into fulfillment mode right away. I mean, the team is basically taking a break this week. They just finished the international shipments as of this morning. But they're ready to go for the last haul. So we're going to get these books out lickety-split.
Yeah. And so just looking at the totals right now, Common America 3 has outperformed Common America 2 by $12,000. So we're still growing. Now, we also know that Black Ops, not as popular in IP as Common America, but of course, this is Black Ops X Common America. So we're expecting it to do better than our last Black Ops volume. But we're just really grateful to everybody who keeps reading and keeps coming back for more. And we're especially grateful to folks like Vicky and Cheyenne and DA and Andron Skinny and Fresher Luke and Hervohe Grahovac and all you cool people out there who share, especially because, we don't do, obviously, these YouTube streams. We don't really have a big YouTube channel. Twitter presence. Like I only have like 2,000 followers on Twitter. We don't have a big social media presence. So every time someone shares and gets it out there a little bit further and gets it to a wider audience than we could on our own, that means a lot because that's what's helping us succeed and helping us grow with each new campaign is more and more people sharing. So that means a lot and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and major thanks to, again, the people at, I think, Well Read Stream who reviewed the book. That was really helpful to, I think, a lot of people who might be curious about what it's about. Same thing to Thinking Critical. Wes did a really great job early on helping us out there. Again, it's all grassroots support. We don't have major YouTube presence. And so anytime someone reviews our stuff or tells people to look our way, it's always appreciated, but we don't expect it. And we want to make sure that people who are listening who might have a bigger YouTube presence, that we don't expect you to read our work and review it. We don't even ask for it. Even if you like the book and you review it, we are grateful though, however. So I just want to put that out there. But we like the fact that the grassroots and it seems like casual readers and people who are avid manga or comic book readers like the work. To us, that's the most important part because that word of mouth is really important. Let's see here. Dan Albus. I'm going to get a 3D printer to make a Common America action figure. It's okay if I sell them. We give you obviously. So things about that. Obviously, it's our intellectual property, so we want to make sure that we have some control over it. However, if it looks great, we'll actually make you a better deal. Just contact me privately once you're finished with it, and we can actually just offer it as part of crowdfunding, and we don't mind giving you the lion's share of it. I mean, that's kind of what we've done with pretty much everything that we've worked with so far. You can talk to any artist who's worked with us. They're all pretty happy with what we pay them. Mark and I don't want to say we don't do this for money. We obviously try to make it so that we can have some of the money reserved so that we can put that to future campaigns, but we're not greedy. At the end of the day, I mean, we're basically just making enough to make it worthwhile. The rest of the money goes into cooler, basically R&D, like research and development, cooler products. And my gosh, you should see some of the products that we started and we've just put on the back burner. One of them was actually it was like a porcelain figure. And I think I paid $350 just for the prototype and it did not go anywhere. It did not look good at all, but lessons learned. It's like, okay, $350, but you learn what works and what doesn't work. But I've seen, I think, what you were working on, Dan, and it looked pretty freaking cool. So if you can show me something that's closer to finished, we will definitely work something out. We can definitely offer it. I'll make sure to pay you something that is definitely going to be worth your while, and we can go from there. Same thing. That's kind of what we did with Scribbles. I don't know if she wants me to mention what her real name is, so I'm just going to say Scribbles. But she did our sticker sheets for us. And we worked out a licensing agreement where she can basically keep 100% of her charm sales in exchange for some of the art that we use from her for other products. And so I think she's really happy about that that fiduciary exchange.
Yeah, she still sells those acrylic Kamen core charms on her site, and those things are really cute. I think they're the same art as the stickers, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the same as the stickers, but they're in charm form, and apparently they're really popular. Form, yeah, she sold out of them like not too long ago.
Okay, yeah, they were really cute. They were doing really well then. That's great.
Yeah, they're doing fantastic. Art Mark 88. Hello, drawing a Comet digital Shikishi drawing right now. Cool. Be sure to post it on social media and share it so that we can take a look at it. That'd be really awesome. This guy, by the way, Art Mark 88, I think he's open for commission. So if anyone out there is looking for some work, he draws in kind of a Gynax trigger style. So, and he's open. He's really good. So make sure to hit him up. Oh, Rebel Comics is here. Hey, guys, congrats on a job well done. Thank you very much. Rebel Comics is Larry. He's with Niobe Comics. And I think he has a campaign going on IndieGoGo right now. So make sure to check it out. I think he has quite a few days left in his campaign. But if you missed out on Niobe on Kickstarter, and that seems to be up your alley, make sure to give him a shout out. Douglas Ernst, the man himself. Hey, Doug, I was having lunch with Bill and Matt today. They say hi. He says, I heard that you have to have a huge YouTube channel or else you can't succeed in indie comics. Your claims of success are suspect. It doesn't hurt, for sure, to have a big YouTube presence, but I don't know. What do you do with guys like us who don't? I mean, honestly, I don't think I know I can't stream every day because I don't even know what to talk about. The news nowadays is so depressing. It's like the last thing that I want to focus on.
It would just drive you insane. You'd lose the will to live if that's what you talked about every day.
Oh my gosh. But, I mean, like, there's so much stress as it is already.
Since Doug's here, by the way, no spoilers, but Doug did send me the script to Soulfinder 3, his first draft, and I did give that a read through today. And I sent Tim. I sent you my notes, and then you're going to add your notes once you've read it and send that back to Doug. But Soulfinder 2 is available on iconiccomics.com right now. And Doug's already written Soulfinder 3, so that one's coming out soon too. By the way, it was really cool. Soulfinder 3, just a sneak review of that. It's really cool. If you like Soulfinder 1 and 2, you're going to love 3.
And that book is still on Iconic Comics, so anyone who wants to check it out, I think I've said this on 2 or 3 streams already, but his numbers for sales have outpaced his original campaign. So I know there's a lot of people who they want to know the numbers and they want to know the math and stuff like that. But what we did was, I haven't looked recently, but for a 14-day metric going from the time he launched it on Iconic, which I think was March the 24th, day by day, he already outsold Soulfinder Volume 1. He's doing very well, and I mean, that's the entire reason why he has money for Soulfinder 3. We have 2 very different business models, but we are working in tandem, and we share our data with each other. So this is good for us because it means that, heaven forbid, if we're ever deplatformed for some reason, we have a backup. Are you opening cat food?
No, I was just chugging some water from a canteen in my fridge. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm opening cat food.
Can you go through your process a bit? Are you iPad Procreate exclusive? How long is the full page taking you in general? So Mark does the script, and I do all the art and the lettering. And the coloring. So
you do everything that's not the script, basically.
one page from beginning to end is about 8 hours, and it includes the lettering. I do it all on Procreate. The only thing I do on Photoshop is the lettering. And the reason why is because Procreate's a bit finicky when it comes to lettering. Sometimes, even though I use the same page template, I'll say, hey, I want this typed out in size 8.0 font, but page by page, it's like their version of 8.0 changes. And so I don't have any consistency. So the only way to maintain that is through Photoshop. So Photoshop, I only use for lettering. Everything else is done in Procreate. So 99.9% of the work is done on it. And I'm using an iPad that I bought in 2017. So it's not even a new model. And according to my data, I think I still have like, I don't know, like 10 gig left on it. Like it's a powerhouse, that's for sure. I haven't had any problems or slowdowns or anything with it. It's still chugging along pretty great. Oh, Comic Book Hut is here. He says, I thought you needed flamboyant costumes to attract backers. Oh, you don't want to see me in a flamboyant costume. that would detract backers. So we don't do that. Thank you very much, by the way, for your support over the years, Comic Book Hut. Really appreciate it. For people listening in chat, he has 2 channels. He has the Patriot Hut and the Comic Book Hut.
Oh, he has 3 channels. He also has the Baseball Hut.
Oh, but we don't.
Yeah, but we don't care about baseball. Sorry, Hut. Like we follow you and you're
attention to
baseball. Baseball's not our thing.
I do not pay attention to baseball, but he does have almost daily news content, so, and he does review comics, so make sure to check him out. Let's see here. I like Soul Finder 1 and 2. Did he get the idea to make Soul Finder 2 hardcover from you guys doing hardcover? No, he came up with that on his own. I think it was
yourself.
Yeah, I think it was because, so we freely admit that we get a lot of our ideas from Doug TeNapel, because he's always like 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead of us in terms of coming up with like something new. And we'd been pricing like how much it would cost to do hardcover, and Doug, he basically just did it on his own. We got him in touch with our printers so that we're on a speaking basis, so that he can talk to them without having to go through me. And he basically negotiated that whole thing on his own. Meanwhile, on our end, I had been trying for almost half a year to get the price down on hardcovers so that we could potentially try them out. I've said before that I'm inspired by the way that the French have done it. When I lived in France, and this was way back in 2000, I was really impressed by the way that they did their bande dessinée, which is basically their version of comics or graphic novels. They put a lot of care and attention into that presentation, and I really wanted something like that. But obviously, it took 2 years of accumulating capital to even consider it. And the other thing you need for hardcover is you need some backers. So you need to make the quantity count in order to justify the cost. So no, that was all Doug. He did it on his own. But we were thinking in parallel, because as he was doing that, we were able to negotiate a deal for our own hardcovers for Common America Volume 3 as well. Let's see here. How are you able to do pages so fast?
We're making yourself sick and injured.
Yes, I don't want to go into my health problems, but basically, I overwork myself. There's some days where I don't, I'll get like 4 hours of sleep. But that's basically it. So long story short, Mark and I worked in merchandising for about a decade. And in merchandising, it pays very well, but you have to learn how to work fast, because they want t-shirt designs, bag designs, poster art. This is all stuff that you can't take a week to do. I mean, they want it the day of. So they want you to work from 9 a.m. till however long it takes. And when I was starting out, they were like, can you do this design in under 8 hours? I was like, yeah, no problem. And I was sweating bullets because I just thought there is no way I can get this done in 8 hours. But I made myself do it. I basically just work until I could get it done. And so what I tell myself, and Mark knows this, is I say, I have to get a page done a day. And I just work until I get that page done. And I want to do it fast, because the faster I can get that page done, the sooner I can, I don't know, do other things like eat, sleep, hang out with people,
okay.
use the bathroom. So I've done it to where I can work pretty quickly. I have a routine worked out on Procreate, how I can streamline the coloring process. Just to give you guys a little bit of insight, what I do is Procreate has a very good color drop feature where you just drag and drop the color into the space that you want. That is a huge time saver. I basically don't have to do flats myself anymore. I can just flat on the fly as I go. So that saves a lot of time in terms of the workload. But now it is arduous, and I've had to take a break. I took a break about, like I said, 2.5 weeks ago to do that show down in Biloxi, but I have actually not drawn all week this week because I literally made myself sick again. So I don't recommend necessarily people doing what I do. It's not necessarily healthy. Jeremy Turner says nerds. That's true.
Yes, he was actually just saying on Twitter like 5 minutes ago that he was going to pop in and call us nerds. So he's a man of his word. Thank you.
He is. He is. The Pepper Talk says, I read Common America Volume 3 the other night and love that Carly is Common America. Yes, thank you so much. So this is something I brought up to Mark because I said this is something I want to stress. One thing that we don't do, something you'll not see in any of our books, is in our fictional world, there are no such things as alternate realities. And I've told this to some of the other guys who want to feature Carly in their books. It's like, you can, but it has to kind of take place in this world. There are no such things as alternate versions of Carly. And the reason why is specifically because of like Spider-Man. I don't like the idea of, I think there was a time when I liked the idea of there being a prime universe and things split off from it, kind of like the Age of Apocalypse, where there's a flashpoint in time where instead of one universe, you have two, because there is still this idea that you have a unique prime reality and that there are things that are divergent from it. But the idea of multiple universes, it reminds me of, what was that? It was a DC animated movie. It was one where like Batman fought Owlman, for example. They were fighting like
Earth 2, right? Yeah.
Right. So they were fighting like evil versions of themselves. And at the end of it, I just thought to myself, if that had happened to, I don't know, a normal person, you would have this existential crisis where you think to yourself, wow, like I had no idea that I could be like this evil person. But basically, like the characters just thought like, it's just how it is. And I thought, well, that means that there's no uniqueness to you because you've just come to accept that this is it. And so why should I care about any given storyline? Because if, let's say, Peter Parker dies in one universe, who cares? There's like a million, a trillion of them, an infinite number of them that exist out there. And I think that that's part of the reason why a lot of people are dipping out of Western comics, is because of this, the idea that the stakes don't even matter, that characters come back all the time. There's alternate versions of them. I was listening to a talk with Tyler Carpenter that he had not too long ago, where he talks about why manga is so popular. And part of the reason why is that it's bookended. You can follow like the story of Goku from the time he's a child to the time he's an adult, and you can grow with the character. And don't get me wrong, there are, like, as far as I know, I think there's like one alternate version of him, or there's like a splinter timeline or something like that. Yeah. But for the most part, you're invested in the character because they can die. There are things that can happen. Side characters might not show up after they get killed again. And I think that, I don't want to spoil anything, but for example, the idea of legacy characters right now, it's something that they talk about with like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. There's always this, I told Mark, I said, I prefer it now when characters die, because it means that they can't be bastardized in the future. You know that some hack writer is not going to take over and be like, hey, I'm going to bring back your favorite character, but guess what? They got purple hair now, or you know,
it's like like when a character dies and they don't come back, it's more like they can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a part in Common America 3, spoiler, where they think that a rival has taken the mantle of Common America, and it turns out that she didn't. And she gives a speech where she says the character and the costume are one and the same. You cannot just switch out the mask and have it be someone else. Now, I get it. There are exceptions to that in fiction. For example, like the Flash, or even like the Phantom. But that tends to be established early on, that it's something that's passed down. I just want people to know that in this universe that we've created, the character is definitely attached to the name, which is why the secondary character, has another name that she goes by, and that's Common Victory. So if you haven't bought the book yet and are waiting, that's, you know, what happens there.
It's also why, like, we have the Common Core, but they're not like the Common America of Russia and the Common America of America and the Common America of Japan. They're each individual characters. It's Common America, Common Comet, Common Ramen, Common Victory. They're doing something like right now. I'd have to talk to Wes this Sunday about it, but aren't they doing like Captain America of this place and Captain America of that place? Now there's like 50 Captain Americas, and they're all of like different locations, like a franchise. It's like, that's lame.
And not just that, but it's kind of like the same thing with the Spider Family or the Bat Family. It's kind of like, well, I get it. Even if you were to make all the characters separate and individual, which you should do, I mean, as a writer, that's part of the uniqueness. You've also watered down the uniqueness of, let's say, their skill set, right? Like
they're all the same. Yeah,
they're all the same. I mean, there's nothing particularly unique about them. Even now with like Spider-Man, I mean, good Lord, I haven't read a Spider-Man book in ages, and it's because I read like the whole Spider-Verse thing, and I just thought, why do I care? It's like, oh, because the Peter Parker 616 has this strong moral core, and I'm like, yeah, but you've also introduced another Peter Parker with the exact same moral core as him that exists in this other universe. I just don't feel that invested because, if he dies, who cares? There's a doppelganger of him out there who's just as good, just as noble as he is. And on the other hand, there's no addressing the existential crisis of a Peter Parker that's like a complete a-hole that lives in this other universe. Like, nothing matters in that case. So we try to preserve the uniqueness. Again, that's just part of our storytelling. If you disagree, that's fine. I'm just saying that from our perspective, for our readers, you can be assured that we have a one prime timeline and there is no divergence from it. Marcus Yamamoto says, when's the next Common America comic coming to Comixology? I have no idea, because that is something that Antarctic Press did with their retail versions. I can tell you right now that one thing we are going to do is eventually we're going to phase out the digital PDFs for crowdfunding. And what we're going to do is we're just going to digitize them and offer them on Kindle. So that way, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Doesn't matter if you're late to crowdfunding. You can just pay right there and get the full campaign version after the campaign is over. There's a couple of reasons that have led to that. One is that I know that our book has been pirated recently and put on sites like 4chan, which I guess is kind of flattering, but it does subtract from our sales. Now, you've always heard that phrase, like, well, you can't prevent piracy. That's true, but you also can't prevent things like murder. You can't prevent things like stealing. Just because something is unpreventable doesn't mean that it's not against the law and that it doesn't hurt people. But
you just don't have to make it easy for them.
we just make it in a way where it's not easy. Now, I'm also opposed to DRM, because a lot of times with DRM, what happens is a lot of your private information is like watermarked into the comic, and for some reason it leaks out. Sometimes it's not even malfeasance. It could be because someone stole your computer and leaked it out. Think these things happen. So what we try to do is we arbitrate it by having it so that you shouldn't have a reason to do it. For example, Tyler and I were talking about the Shonen Jump app. I think that's the best deal in town. It's like $5 a month, and you can read as much manga as you want. I mean, I don't see a point in trying to go through some strange torrent site to find this material. For $5 a month, I just read whatever I want. So hopefully we're going to offer a digital alternative that makes it so that it is a very good price and that you can read our content and not have to turn to any form of piracy to do it. We're trying to keep everyone happy and not deprive them of the medium that they want to utilize. Comic Book Cat says, you better take care of yourself, Tim. I'm trying. Pray for me, man. Pray for me. Since the middle of January, it's just been rough. And I haven't disclosed much of it to just a handful of people. There's some people who, just for lack of a better word, there was some drama happening, and some people were like privately calling me out. And I just said, look, man, I don't want to tell you this, but I've had some health problems. And I'm just telling you this so that you don't hate me if I'm not involved with whatever is happening. But it's embarrassing. Like, I really don't want to talk about it. And even still, it's kind of, the reason I'm talking about it now is because I'm getting better. It's just that I've had a relapse recently. But that's what's going on. Are you guys eventually going to take a break from these releases? No, we're going to do 3 books a year. God help me. We're actually pretty well ahead of where we need to be. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure some things are going to happen that will slow it down a little bit, but God willing, I want to put out 3 books a year. We'll just have to see how that goes. All right, I think that's it. We're caught up. Green October says, I would love to get them on Kindle. My Adobe and Drive have only so much space. Kindle Cloud doesn't have that limit. Yes. And I think what I'm doing is I'm going to get Bill Williams to digitize them for us. He's very, very good at that. So he'll be able to do the campaign versions. And hopefully we can do that for the fall. And what I'm planning to do is I'm going to have it so that if you back the physical version on crowdfunding, you will get the PDF of that. Because, heck, in my book, you already paid for the physical. You might as well just get the digital with it. But for people who want digital only, we're just going to offer that separately on Kindle. and that way you can just read it at your leisure. I like it personally. I read a lot of my manga that's not on Shonen Jump on Kindle, and it's worked just fine. So I'm hoping that that's a good solution for people. Man, we streamed for 24 minutes past where we said, and we actually hit 30 viewers at one point. I'm very happy that people came to show up. Do you have any closing words, Mark? Anything you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I know that there's a lot of folks that we didn't thank by name, and we're not ignoring you. We did a previous thank you stream for the Kickstarter, but we didn't want to just do a list of names again. But you all know who you are. We talk to you guys on Twitter every day. Just Some Guy and Squid Mama, and I think we already mentioned like Vicky and Cheyenne and Skinny, and all you folks are always really good to us. So thank you everybody who has been supporting, who has been sharing, and who has been cheering us on. We really appreciate it.
I also want to thank Flork of Cows, because first I think it's an honor that we follow each other and that we're friends and that he talks to me. His comic has a ton of viewership. So anytime he says anything about us, we get a spike in sales. And his comics are great. I've always said that it's not just the art and it's not just the story. The two have to work synergistically. And his comics are crude in terms of the art, but it matches how funny his strips are. Like, I love them. He makes my day whenever he posts those strips, and he's a good guy. He runs charities, I think 4 times a year, where they try to do like Toys for Tots and things like that. But he has a great comic. If you're on Twitter, just go to Flork of Cows, or you can go on Instagram, and I think it's the same handle over there. But I mean,
it's
just
absurdist, and it's absurdist and bizarre, but that's what makes it so funny. Also, he has some really great merch. I picked up his Dungeon Sock action figure, which I just got because the concept of it was just really funny. But he also has like his sock plushie, which is adorable. And he recently put the mask on his sock plushie, which is really funny. But Flork of Cows, I know his style looks really simplistic, but that's not because he can't draw. He'll periodically post other art, like he does of like women and men, like body figures. And he's a really good artist. He just chooses to draw with the sock puppets because that's his bread and butter.
I love it. They're so cute, and then they'll pop up occasionally on Facebook, and I just die laughing every time. He posted this one this morning, and it just had me in stitches. So it's like Gulliver's Travels, and it's the sock puppet, and it's like chained down. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die," and the little dudes are like, "Dude, this guy's dong is huge."
He's like smiling.
Yeah, he smiles. He's like, "Maybe this isn't so bad after all." It's absurdist humor, but it works, and it's so great. But I want to thank him because it's I think I've gone a couple of streams and not mentioned him, but he is in our kind of circle of friends. I'm really appreciative whenever he does give us a shout out. Alrighty, if everyone doesn't have any questions right now, we have a few more. I like you too, Eating Crow. Like, you pop up in our Twitter a lot too. What are your thoughts on a Common America cartoon or a movie? So I actually wrote up kind of a will. My wife and Mark know it. I've talked about it before. They are not to sell the property rights to Common America to anyone in the United States. Not a single soul.
No Netflix, no HBO Max, none of them.
No HBO, no Disney, no one. No Hollywood person. Except Japanese animation studios. If a Japanese animation studio approaches us, then we'll talk. That's it. That's the only motivation that we have. We're perfectly fine doing comics and not going outside of that. But that's it. I don't like the way that they do adaptations. I think they bastardize things to an extent where you can't even recognize the original material, and they don't have any respect for the input of the creators. And that's just me knowing some people who have worked in that industry for a while. It's disgusting.
Except in Japan, where they basically take the manga and they use it as a blueprint to tell the stories in the anime adaptations, and they always keep it really accurate. So that's why we would prefer a Japanese studio.
Oregon 87 says Trigger. Yes, I would. If Trigger wanted it, I basically would just give them the rights to do it for free. I'm not even kidding. I think Mark would agree with me.
I've loved everything that Trigger's done so far, but it has to be just the Japanese side of Trigger. It can't be any of their American friends, because their American friends are not the kind of people we want working on art. So.
Yeah, I would love Trigger. They're a huge influence in terms of artistic style, and I think I got Mark looking at some of their stuff too. I know he's seen Killer.
You broke up. I couldn't hear you. Hello. The hell? Tim? So which one of us can people hear right now? Can people hear me or can they hear Tim? Which one of us went robot, me or Tim? Because from my side of things, it sounded like Tim was breaking up. Yeah, chat. Maybe they can't hear either of us. He's Robo Tim. Just you, Mark. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that suddenly ends the stream. Could be a weather thing happening over in Texas right now. Yeah, Tim just noped out. So okay, so I think Tim's done. So I'll go ahead and say farewell to everybody. I appreciate everybody who showed up. Everybody who's been really supportive of us. Hey, Josh, the amazing animator. And like Sailor Switch and Lunar Archivist and just a whole bunch of people. You know, we know so many people on on social media, on Twitter and on YouTube and on Minds. But we just want to say thanks to all of you. And Kamen America is still up. It's not quite done yet. It's up for 4 more hours. So it ends, I believe, at midnight Pacific time. So everybody, thank you for showing up. Doug Ernst and Vicky and Port Mule and Guy from Red Bank and Great Cortex and Green October and Cheyenne and Oregon and Andrew J and everybody else. So thanks again, everybody. We appreciate all your support and thank you for making Kamen America a success. And we've got a lot more on the way. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks again.
Are we still live? I got disconnected. It looks like Mark's not here. All right, end of broadcast. Bye.